All right, if you click this video, you're wondering how to run a successful meta ads campaign in 2026 for home service or contractors. I created a one-page document that goes through the entire process and the philosophy behind each decision I make when making a meta ads campaign. This document will be completely free and it will be in the first link in the description, so you can use this when you are tailoring your ads to your ideal customer profile. So as you can see here, what I have created is a blueprint for this entire strategy or how I go about making my campaigns. It can get a little more complex than this at times, but I wanted to keep it as simple as possible, and I wanted to make it one page so you're not having like a 6-document PDF of going through each individual step. Now, it will get a little tricky sometimes if you haven't done ads this way. Now, and I'll try to explain each step as best as I can. I'm not the best teacher sometimes, so if you have any questions, feel free to just comment them below and I will get them to you. Starting from the top, this is obviously meta ads for home services. I labeled it the 7-step campaign system, from finding your client's ideal customer to live campaign that gets real leads. And these are the type of leads and jobs that you want, not just, tire kickers or people that are price shopping. Our goal is to get you book jobs and the type of jobs that you want. This document is the process. Every step we go through in this video is here, what we're doing, why we're doing it, and what it would look like if it's done right. Keep this open and follow along. Like I said, use this as a template, follow along, and I'm gonna break this down as best as I can. So the process, step number 1, we define who we're targeting, our client ICP and qualification. Client ICP just means ideal customer profile, like who it is that you truly want. You don't want a tire kicker. You want someone who knows how much your service is going to be and the quality of service that you offer. Step number 2, find ads that are already working. This is the research phase of finding the ads that you should make or ads that you should recreate. You can easily find these like in meta ads library or TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, stuff like that, and I'll break that down as well about how I go about finding these creatives, so I will show you that. And then step number 3 is building the creative, what the ad actually looks like. So this goes from research to building the actual creative and how we use copywriting, stuff like that, in order to get this right. Number 4 is set up the campaign in Ads Manager, the technical build. So this is where you're actually just setting up the campaign in meta ads and going through that entire process, which I know some of you have done and some of you may not have done, so I will break that down. Step number 5 is create the instant form where the lead gets captured. This is a very important part as well. I always preface this in almost all my videos. This is kind of how you qualify the type of customers you are getting. Obviously, it starts from the first touch point, which is the ad that they're first seeing. But once they go through your ad and go through your entire funnel, which is these questions, you really want them to understand the pricing of your service and what you are offering, etc. It'll go deep into that, but we'll break that down as well. Number 6, connect the backend, making sure leads reach the client. This is for the business owners of the contractor companies or the home service companies per se. If you're a business owner and you're watching this, we want to make sure that you guys have the leads as fast as possible. Speed is key here, because we see if the customer does not get contacted within the first 5 minutes, they'll just go and reach out to your competitor. So we want to make sure that this is taken care of, because you can have everything perfectly dialed, but if you are getting leads and you're not reaching out to them quickly, then nothing will convert. And then last but not least, we launch and monitor everything. So going live and what to watch. We want to make sure that we are tracking the right data and not turning off ads too quickly before Facebook has the time to find who your ideal customer is, because they are very good. Obviously now with Andromeda, stuff like that, their platform is super good at finding out. So giving it some time and breathing room is very important and vital to this step, but also not giving it so much time where you're losing money. So it's a fine line that you have to walk, but it's not as complicated as you may be. There are certain numbers and certain KPIs that you need to be watching more than others, and you will be able to scale or turn off the ads with those KPIs. All right, so now for the technical stuff, we are going into define who we're targeting, our client ICP and qualification. So who is it that you want to resonate your ad with, or who would you want to see your ads? If you can pencil in your ideal customer profile, with they were a millionaire, or if they were an older type of demographic, like who would be your ideal customer profile here? So the way we do this is we have a conversation with the client about their customers. Now, if you're a business owner, you kind of know who your customer will be, or who the ideal customer profile would be if you aren't already reaching them. Everyone has this in the back of their mind, like who would we want to see this if we could get it in front of them without any friction possible? So there's a couple ways to do that, and we'll get into that. Identify the job jobs that you want more of and the jobs that they don't, or the jobs that you don't. Like for my example right now, we're helping painting contractors get more type of jobs that they want, and the type of jobs that they want is the big jobs, which is full interior, full exterior repaint projects. They don't really necessarily want the touch-up jobs or like a couple cabinets in the kitchen. They want the entire house, or they want the entire exterior of the home. So you have to ask yourself, what type of jobs would I not want more of, and what type of jobs would I want more of? Because if you're advertising and you're not disqualifying the type of jobs that you don't want more of, then you might be getting more leads for those type of jobs that you don't want more of. So why would you be wasting time and money on those jobs if they're not profitable, when you could be just getting less of the jobs that you do want, but they move the needle forward? So after you do that, you lock in the minimum job value that you are willing to go down with, the service area, obviously how far you want to go out and service these people, and the customer type, which goes and ties back into number one. Write one clear sentence describing the perfect lead. So from going through those 3 bullet points, you have the data and you have the ideal customer profile in your head. So just write it down quickly, like what type of jobs that you want to service, the ideal customer profile, how much budget they would have, etc., etc. And then you will have a clear understanding of who your ICP is. So why it matters: running ads without knowing your ICP is like sending mail with no address. No, literally, it's like sending a postcard to someone, but you don't have the address. So you're just sending the postcard out to oblivion and you don't know who your ideal target is. That's a really good analogy there, and I want you to understand bad targeting equals bad leads or jobs that you don't want, and client loses trust fast. This step is what really separates you guys from just people clicking buttons or not knowing what they're doing. It also tells you exactly what to say in the ad copy. So if you know exactly who your ideal customer profile is, you're going to write the ad copy a little differently than just broad targeting. What good looks like, you can finish this sentence here. We want blank customer type in blank location who needs blank job with a minimum value of X. And the way you fill that in is, for my example, would be painting company. So we want customers in upper middle class, certain location that we are servicing, depending on who the client is, who needs exterior, interior paint with a minimum job value of $7,000, because that is what we see for pricing in our industry. Now go through that and finish that sentence to what your service industry is, and you will kind of see like what the bigger picture is. And then obviously you know what a bad lead looks like. You can filter it out. The client agrees on what success looks like before any money is spent. So this is very important as well. So you're trying to bridge the gap between you and the customer. You want them to understand that this is a premium product or premium service that you guys are offering. This is not the cheapest price that you will find on the internet. They can go elsewhere for that. You want them to understand that this is premium and it should feel premium. You should be giving them better incentives so the price is indicative of what service they're getting. And I know most of you guys that are watching this video are already ahead of 99% of the contractors out there who are trying to just price gouge and go to the very bottom and basically doing services for free. This is for people who understand they have a premium service, their work is good, you pay one time and you will get this for life essentially, or the project will just be done right from the get-go. You don't have to double pay because of someone did a terrible job and then you're looking for the good service when you know you should have done that. So the customer understands this, you understand this, and the bridge is built and you guys have a great relationship after that. Moving right along, step number 2, find ads that are already working. Meta ads library research. So let's go through this quickly and I'll show you an example of how we do it. So what we do, we're going to open the meta ads library and I will do that with you guys. So once you have the meta ads library pulled up, you're going to go to this drop down menu, which is ads category, select all ads, and we're going to select the type of niche that we are in. Like I said, for my example, we're going to search some painting competitors. So we'll do like CertaPro Painters is a really big client in the industry. These guys are always dominating the market, but you know what, these guys are more of like a corporation, so they have locations basically everywhere. Now I'm going through these and I'm trying to find which one will do well, and honestly these are pretty bad, so I'm going to search up a different one. I'm going to search up like painting services so we can get more of like a home contractor style, not like a big corporation. Okay, so we have a couple examples here that I'm already seeing. I'm gonna just click one example so I can show you. This one honestly is not that good, but the reason why I clicked it is because of this here. So they have been running this ad for almost 2 years now, and If you see something like that, if you see someone has been running an ad for 30 days or more, that means they are making money with this ad. They would not be spending money on Facebook to be running ads if it wasn't making them money in return. And as I was saying before, this is not a good ad, but it's not up to me to decide that. It's up to their client profile to decide if this ad resonates with them. And if their copy is good, let's read it. Thinking of a fresh look for your home? Envision Painting offers professional interior and exterior painting services that add new life to any space with a variety of colors and finishes, blah, blah, blah. Don't wait to book your painting project today for a beautiful, refreshed home in time for the holidays. They were running this for the holidays. It looks like right before Christmas, and they haven't changed any of the copy. They haven't changed any of the pictures. They just continuously let it run because it was making them money. Now, I'm not sure how much money it was making them, but if they were running this ad for almost 2 years, that is thousands and thousands of dollars in ad spend, so it should be printing for them. Now, let me show you a little better example that I can potentially find with some video ads. Let's do this one out. This is a video ad, painting, as I mentioned. I don't really love this, to be honest. Like, there's no intro to the story, there's no hook. It's just an ad that was thrown up. This is kind of the type of ads that I had mentioned when people just throw up the ads and don't do a lot of research. Now, that being said, they have been running this ad since July 1st of 2025. So this ad actually is doing well for them. You actually don't know or have no idea which ad is going to do well. Obviously, you can use these steps that I've made to give you a way better chance to have a successful ad campaign. But I would never think in a million years that this ad would do well. Of course, it has visuals of what they're doing, but in my industry, this type of stuff doesn't do well. Now, obviously, I could be very wrong in this situation because they have been running this ad for so long, but maybe they just don't have a marketing team to make better ads and more updated ads. We'll keep moving along. I'll try to find a good example. If not, I'll just pull one up myself. So this one was actually made January 2026, which is pretty good. This one's recent. Now, let's see what their stuff is. Okay. This is way better. I know this is a winning ad because they have a hook instantly and they're already showing the before and afters of what it would look like. This is the before of what it was like when it gets worn out, stuff like that. Yeah. Oh yeah, this is a beautiful ad example right here. This is honestly something you should replicate exactly right here. These guys are doing really, really good with the stuff because they have a hook. They show you a before and after of what their service is doing and what it looks like, so the customer has a tangible experience of what their home would look like. And boom, this is one of the most important parts. They have reviews and they're showing reviews of happy customers, and this will resonate super well. Now I want to see what their offer is, so I'm going to let this continue playing. Oh yeah, this is good. This is really good. Yeah. Okay, so they have copywriting. Let me see what their copywriting is. Now, I'm not actually a hugest fan of this copywriting because I don't necessarily like the emoji stuff. Sometimes it does do well. There's a better example of writing like a brief story and getting them to actually read this stuff rather than just having like some random copywriting text here, because a lot of people don't read this. They just watch the image ad and then go to your quote. But you can actually nurture them way more if you create a story here. What I've seen people do is create a story about like the exact customer that they are making the advertisement for, and they go down, then they watch the video, or they watch the video and then they read that, and then they click your offer. So you're just trying to get these people to spend more time on your page and warm up to you guys, so that builds trust. Now, I will show you guys some of that in the copywriting section, but in regards to the actual ad that they made, this is probably like a 9 out of 10 example I could have seen. If you are a contractor and you don't know how to make ads, just replicate this or have someone make this video for you, and I'm sure this will do super, super well. Now, another freebie that I'm gonna give you guys here is kind of where I find my ads. So this is some sauce for you guys. I just search up like as you can see from my search results, interior painting services, and some of these are not ads that are running on Facebook. So you can make these and then build your actual creative there. And I will show you guys kind of how I go about this process. Now, this is really for business owners who don't have good content already. So you can go out here and actually make good ads instead of just throwing up your bad content, which will not convert. So this is kind of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for visuals of people that are doing the service that I am offering. So for instance, this is painting. And that's a good example, but it already has kind of text over it. So I might not use this. Something like this would actually be really good. Yeah, something like if this was a service that my client offered, this would be a really good example to use. Yeah. Because they go through the entire process of what it would look like before and then after results, so you can see exactly what you were getting. And if they do good work, then you can easily get that. Now, what you would do is just download this video. You can download this video with something which is called IDM. It's a internet download manager. So any video you see, like right here, you can see my example, this video that we looked at. I can download this video right on the spot. I think it's like a couple bucks, but you can download literally any video on the internet that has a media player, and you can just get this to your ad library. And then once you have that video, obviously you can go into the creation of the ads, which we will get into on the next step. But for now, let's continue down the document so we can continue with these checkpoints. Now we're finding at least 2 to 3 ads that have clearly been running for a long time, which I had showed you in the meta ads library, and then break down the offer, the hook, the format, CTA for each one, which I did for you guys so you guys can better understand why it was a winning ad, why this matters. Ads that have been running for 30+ days are making money. Like I told you, if they're running for multiple days and months and years, they're not just going to be running for no reason. It's because these people are making money from them. So that is something you need to understand when looking at the ads library, is not picking the ads that have been running for 2 to 3 days, because those are in testing phase. You want the ones that already have tangible data that you can see, okay, these guys have been running for a year. I'll probably copy this one. So that's what it all is. That's part of market research. Someone is paying them to keep them live. Like I said, this really removes the guesswork from your creative. So you're not just throwing up an ad and hoping it does well. Now, you're not copying here, you're learning what the market already responds to. That's a key difference. You're not just copying them and taking their exact video with their business owner. You're just copying the format that is winning. You'll see this with everything on the internet. When it comes to imaging or content creation, people are just taking winning formulas and making their own, throwing a spin off, getting creative. But the reason why it's winning is because it has been formulated in a way that people resonate with it. So they're not just guessing anymore. They're just recreating the format. They're not recreating and reinventing the wheel. Most people skip this, as I mentioned, and wonder why their ads don't work. You're just kind of throwing up an ad there and wondering, hey, why is my ad not working? Because you're not following the winning formula. Like I had mentioned before, what good looks like here. You can name what the hook and strategy is being used. And that video example I showed you, which was really good, there was already a hook instantly in the first 2 to 3 seconds. I was already able to tell what their hook was, and then it went to a before and after, and then it went to what their reviews were, and it just kept going and it just kept grabbing attention, which was really good. The dominant format, video versus image in the niche. Now, that one's a little harder to understand. Videos have been doing super well for our industry, so that's what we have been gravitating a little more towards. But image is still super good. It's just people do image wrong. Like from the example I had showed you, the copywriting wasn't good, even though they were printing from that ad. It could have been done so much better and resonated a little more with the customer profile so it can build trust with them. But that's not to say that their ad wasn't working, because obviously they were running it for almost 2 years. So it has to be doing pretty well. But you can just formulate that a little better with imaging. And then last but not least, you've just identified the offer that keeps showing up and you know how to beat it. So like, for example, your competitors, they have their offers. Now, the videos I showed you and the images I showed you were my competitors, so I can go look at their stuff and figure out what their offer is and figure out who they are advertising to or who their ICP is. And if it's the same person that I'm advertising to, then I can figure out how to beat it and tweak my ad so I can beat them and take the market. All right, moving right along. Number 3, building the creative creative what the ad actually looks like. So what we do here is we decide on the format we are doing, which is just video or image based on research. In my case, I would probably choose video for this industry, but research some like lawyer firms, med spa, stuff like that, imaging might do a little better. So just understand who your target demographic is, and then just obviously from your data do that, and then just collect assets from the client, jobs, photos, before and afters, short video. Now for my case, I help home service businesses scale this up, so therefore my clients are actually the business owners. So I ask the business owners for job photos, before and after videos, short videos if they have, or I help them create the offer that we are going to be advertising to. So I'm quickly just going to interrupt the video here. I'll take 30 seconds of your time and we'll get right back into the good stuff. But as I mentioned, we help service-based businesses scale their already working companies through digital marketing and through digital advertisements with the exact formulas I'm showing you guys on my screen. Now, typically what we find is business owners value time over money, so they would rather hire someone trustworthy to take care of this and actually scale their business to where they want it to go. Now, the key component there is what I said, which is trust and having a company that can actually do this legitimately and scale to the vision that these business owners actually had from the beginning. Now, if you're a business owner and you value time more than anything and are looking to scale your business, then click the first link in the description and see if we can help your business get to that goal that you've always desired. Now let's get right back into the video. Once you have all those assets from your client, or if it's you, the business owner, that actually has these, then you're going to use that in order to create these ads. So what the ad copy is going to look like, you obviously have your hook, you have your body, you have your CTA, which is your call to action or what your offer is. And then obviously at the beginning, you have your headline, stuff like that. So write the copy outside of the ads manager first. Now there's a few different ways you can do this. You can do like the storytelling aspect, you can do like the emoji stuff, or you can actually just put like what your service is at the first or very beginning of the ad copy is. There's a couple different ways you can do it, and depending on what your audience likes, I would choose that one, and I'm going to show you how I do mine. And at the end, you're just reviewing like, hey, does this speak directly to the ICP from step one? Obviously deciding like who your customer profile is up here and going through this step. So let me show you exactly how I'm going about creatives and how I'm doing like the ad copy stuff. So I'm actually going to go back to the ads library for a second. I'm just going to show you an example of some good copywriting text so I can show you how I go about doing it. Give me 1 second and I will find something. Okay, boom, I found it. This is an example I used on my old video, which was insane. This was probably some of the best copywriting I have seen in a long time. And this is the format I think you should follow if you're in this type of home service industry, because this is what gets people hooked on what your service is and what you are offering. Now let's break this down so I can show you the reason why I love this so much. Now there are so many different formats that you could do, but this is one that I really think that has been doing well. Obviously it has been doing well because the proof is in the pudding. It's been running for almost 4 months now, so it has to be doing pretty decent in order for this to be live still to this day. So what they did super well here is they didn't just use emojis like saying, hey, get $500 off your first service, this is our service, you get like clean service or you get good service. Everyone knows if you're offering a service, it should be clean, it should be good, it should be exceptional. So this is where you hook them a little differently. They said, I know $3,800 for a full house painting, that's crazy. Full house painting usually is around $13,000, right? Sort of, but not really. It has to do with the size, the difficulty, the materials. The thing is, that's blah, blah, blah. They go into pricing. My name is Maggie. They go about what their about is. So, we're getting more of a feel of like who the owner is. I own Atkins Home Service in I don't know how to say that, Kettering, Ohio. I probably butchered that, but I've been doing this business my whole life. Here's how I run the business. We don't settle for anything less, no corner cutting. And then she's comparing who their competitors are, like the bigger corporations like Certa Pro, as I mentioned. Unlike the big bloated companies who have fancy offices and TV commercial billboards, guess who pays for all of that? You. So they're going down deeper into the pain points of like these big companies that don't do as exceptional or are as detail oriented as this, company here. So that's not how we roll at all. We can do something really awesome, blah, blah, blah. We do amazing work. And then we go down to her CTA. So you can not only have the peace of mind, but you also save money. Simple. Her ICP is probably that lower middle class demographic who doesn't want to pay, $6,000 to $10,000 for an external interior paint. but they want that good service for that lower pricing. Now for them that works because it looks like it's just a couple of people in their company, but for bigger companies who do more exceptional work or bigger jobs, this wouldn't work. But they understand very clearly who their customer profile is, and they are targeting that ideal customer profile. So this is done beautifully. Now what I would do here is I would copy this here and I would take this into ChatGPT. Now I would paste this here and I would say, hey, this is an example of an ad that I saw on Meta that had great copywriting, like that. Okay. So this is what I wrote. I said, hey, this is an example of an ad that I saw on Meta, had great copywriting. It wasn't just a typical emojis offering their service, blah, blah, blah. They built trust and relationship through the storytelling and having comparison with their competitor. So they understand who their ICP is. I'm telling you this to make me some variations like this, but my offer is more. My ICP for my client is 6 to 7K, full interior, full exterior repaint. So make me some copywriting that I can use for my Meta ads that build trust like that. Okay, and I'm just gonna have ChatGPT build me something like this, and let's see what it builds. So then it also goes down like what makes the ad work: pattern, interrupt, price shock, reframe, not what you think, authority, enemy, big companies, unique mechanism, low overhead, fair pricing, soft CTA, which is like more inviting to their offer. It's not just like bam, pricing, boom, our service, then we're done. No, it's a little better than that. So variation 1. Price shock. I know $15,000 for a full repaint. That's insane. Most homeowners think that's just what it costs, but it's not. Here's the truth. Full interior, exterior repaints should not cost that much. Not unless you're paying for sales teams, office rent, ads, billboards. And guess what? You're the one covering it all. We do things differently. We specialize in $6,000 to $7,000 range without cutting corners. Obviously, high quality, same material, skilled crews. So what's the catch? There isn't one. We're just built lean, efficient, and focused on results. If you're thinking about repainting your home, get a quote before you overpay. Click learn more and we'll get a free fast estimate. I really like this right here. PS, if you answer a few quick questions, you can book directly with us and skip the back and forth. That is super awesome because it's like you're getting personal with these people. You're making them understand what your offer is, and you're like a real company rather than just a big corporation where we call you, we give you a quote, and then we do the service. This is like more like a concierge service. You're understanding their pain points, and I really love what the AI did here. And it'll just give you like multiple variations which you can test with your static imaging. I would probably just use this on static imaging more than the video ads, just because your main hook is obviously the video. But for static imaging, a lot of people skip out on the copywriting, which is very, very crucial. That is like old school, like newspaper stuff. Copywriting was everything because it brings the hook. That is what the headline is. Like, why would you read a section in the paper back in the day? You would read it because of the hook or what the story is about, and then the image would portray what that story is about. So you're just telling a complete story here realistically, and you want to resonate with your customers as much as humanly possible. So that is what I would really do for static imaging. For video imaging, it's a little different. You're getting the videos that you downloaded or content that you have as a business owner or your client, and then you actually build the story or build the text on the video. And I'll show you an example of some videos so you can get a better idea of what this looks like. So this is an example of an ad. I have multiple examples I can show. I'll probably show you two. This is an example for a customer that was in the mainland, and this is what they were doing. So obviously right here, we have where it is exterior painting in the lower mainland. So they have the location, and then we have a hook here, which is kind of like the more content style, which is like, hey, I don't think you can fix that. It's too damaged. And then it's like me with the smirk face that say, hold on, let me do that. The hook is from faded to outdated, which goes with the copywriting, as you can see here, which is like, it all just resonates pretty well.
To clean, modern, and completely refreshed. A professional exterior repaint doesn't just improve curb appeal, it can make your entire home.
And as this is going on, it's showing in a full transformation of the entire home that was being done, and it continues. And then boom, it shows the after result showing like how all of this looks like and how good it looked like after the service was done. So they were able to bring this home back to life. And that is what hooked these people in. And this was a winning ad. So you guys can use that as well if you want. Now, this is one that also did well, but this is more of a storytelling video. It doesn't have the viral format of the text which is on the header. It has more of a story. So let me actually restart this.
Not every paint job goes the way homeowners expect.
That is the hook right there. Not every paint job goes as the homeowners expect. So we already have some friction. You're building curiosity, like what went wrong? Did this job go wrong? So you're building that storytelling.
The owners of this home here in the Lower Mainland had actually hired.
Then you have your location, which is right there, which is Lower Mainland.
Someone else first, hoping to refresh the inside of their house. But the results weren't great.
And then they said the results weren't great. They had friction maybe with a competitor, so you can kind of call them out a little bit there.
Uneven lines, patchy coverage, and areas that just didn't look finished. Instead of the clean, modern feel they wanted, the space ended up looking rushed. And
yeah, and then you just keep building upon that pain point. Like, oh my gosh, I've dealt with this where I hired someone and the job was just terrible. It wasn't to what our liking was. So they're just building upon that urgency and pain that these customers have had.
So they decided to have the work redone properly. Our team came in, prepped.
And then boom, complete shift. Our team came in, prepared the work. We did a better job.
Corrected the problem areas and repainted the entire interior with a smooth, consistent finish.
And then boom, at the end, it shows the entire example of like what the story looks like, how good this is. This is just super simple. This is not like an ad that's in your face like, hey, homeowners, we're doing repaint projects, blah, blah, blah. This is more of like one of those viral formats where they don't know it's necessarily an ad. They watch it, we hook them with curiosity, and then they go through the story and then they realize it's an ad. And by the time they realize it's an ad, they're like, well, hey, I think our house needs repainting. We should go with these guys because we've already built trust with them through our marketing. So that is kind of how you tackle that beast. Why all of this matters. The creative is the number one factor whether an ad works. That is the first touch point people have with you, and as I mentioned, that is the first time they're ever seeing you. So first impressions matter a lot there. Budget and targeting can be fixed. A bad creative kills everything. That's just the basic truth. You could have like really bad targeting, but if the creative is good, you can fix that. But if your targeting is bad and your creative is bad, then you have a problem there. So make sure your creative and video stuff is good. The hook is what stops the scroll. If it doesn't grab attention in 2 seconds, nothing else matters. 2 seconds is a short amount of time, but I think it's even shorter sometimes. Attention span is at an all-time low. There's a stat that's like people see 4,000 to 10,000 videos and images a day. So grabbing their attention is very, very vital. And you have to get a little scrappy here. You have to get into psychology, understanding why they would stop for your ad. It's not just throwing up an ad. That's where people make the biggest mistakes, is just thinking, I can throw this up and you may think it's good, but it's not resonating with your customers, and then you just have wasted money. So make sure that you're grabbing their attention as quickly as possible, like a fish on a reel, and then writing copy before opening Ads Manager will make the build 10 times faster, like going through the meta ads library, getting your copywriting, and then building your ad based upon that story will help you a lot better than just going through different steps randomly, So what good looks like: the hook speaks to real pain or desired result ICP has, like I mentioned in the ad copy or the video imaging. We're understanding what their pain points are and trying to resonate clearly with that. The offer is clear and specific, not vague. So you understand like, hey, our offer is $10,000. For that $10,000, you will get A, B, C, and D. What our expectations are, and then you just have these expectations set so they know exactly what they're getting, if there's a guarantee on your service, stuff like that. Reading it out loud and it sounds like a real person talking, not an ad. Make sure after you write your ad copy or you watch your video that you can read it out loud, and it just sounds more human than just an ad that just has emojis or just what your service is. It just feels more natural, organic, you could say. So that just resonates a lot better with people from what we see. It passes the test. Would the ideal customer stop and read this? Making sure that you understand your ICP will stop and read this. Just like ask yourself the question, if I was in the customer's shoes, would I even stop and think twice to inquire about the service based upon the ads that I am putting in front of them? So just put yourself in their shoes and just go from the customer aspect, because you may think something is good, but it may not resonate with them very well. So moving right along for the technical side of things, step number 4, which is setting up the ads campaign in Ads Manager, the technical build. I'm not going to show you a whole tutorial on how to set this up from beginning to end. I'm going to kind of go over this briefly so you guys can see how we do it and what we do in order to achieve our results. So what we do, campaign level objective, leads, obviously we're trying to get leads, CBO on daily budget ad set level, location, age, broad targeting, let Meta find your ideal customer through your ads, and then advantage plus placements, take your ads off of certain placements. I'll go into some of that as well so you can see. Ad level, upload creative, paste copy, set CTA, which is the offer that you are offering, connect instant form. Instant form is very important. That's where we qualify them. We'll get into that later as well. Preview the ad on mobile before anything else, because if the ad doesn't look good on mobile, then it's probably not going to resonate with 80% of your demographic out there, because people are most of the time seeing these ads on mobile, and that is what people forget. We make these ads on the computer because that is how we do it, but we forget to look at it on mobile view because it is much different. The copywriting is a lot shorter, so you want to make sure you're hooking them at the first sentence or two, and then the video looks a little different as well. So just understand that mobile is your priority here. Why this matters: understanding campaign, ad set. Ad is the foundation of everything, of course. Choosing the right objective tells Meta what kind of people to find, not just like in the location, age, broad targeting. Broad targeting lets Meta algorithm work. Meta is a multi-billion-dollar company. They have an algorithm that works. They want you to make money, because the more you make, the more they make. Their algorithm is made to get in front of that customer that you are wanting to advertise to, because it is in their best interest to get you more money. So therefore, you can be spending more on their platform. Beginners over restrict and wonder why it fails. A lot of people I see that try to do this themselves and target when their targeting is not who their customer is. Mobile preview matters because 80% of the home service leads come from phone. I already told you that. So I'm in the ads manager and I'm showing you guys what the setup kind of looks like. So we're going to go right here in the campaign. This is an active client that I have. So this is just kind of what we are doing. Now, we first had tested with the campaign budget, but it wasn't doing very well. So we just changed this to ad set budget and did dynamic creatives, which just means you can test up to 10 different creatives of images or video and let Meta really understand the algorithm of what is resonating well. Now, I recommend just doing campaign budget at first, and if it's not resonating well with your client, then switch to dynamic creatives, which is just setting the ad set budget here. Campaign objective is leads. We want more leads. Now moving along to the ad set level. So what we have here is we're running dynamic creative. So ours is obviously instant forms. Our conversion location, we want them to fill out the form. We have our Facebook page here. Performance goal, maximize number of leads there. And then obviously we have dynamic creative, as I had mentioned. So Facebook is saying we'll automatically create combinations of your media and text that your audience is likely to respond to. So the algorithm is figuring out what ad and what copywriting blends together and gets in front of these people. Now, we were just doing $20 a day. I recommend at least $30 a day because that just gets you in front of more people, and $20 is a little low. So we'll probably be upping the budget. Now, don't up the budget just from 20 to 30, up the budget in increments of like 8 to 15%. Don't just do it all at once. You will absolutely kill the campaign. So our locations here, this is a Canadian client. So we obviously have their locations, which are close to their hometown or what their servicing is: 25 miles, 30 miles, 23 miles, of course. And then moving along, minimum range 25 and up, because these are homeowners. We want to make sure we're getting in front of homeowners. And then for age, we're moving even higher, which is 30 to 64, which is the ideal customer for like homeowners. So then at the very bottom, these are where you're editing your placements. Now, this is where you adjust, the placements manually. Audience network will be populated automatically. We take that off. It's just kind of a waste of money. We just really want Instagram and Facebook to be where these advertisements are. Unclick apps and sites, because that is a waste of money. Marketing messages, unclick that. Make sure that it's only for Facebook search results, not Instagram. For feeds, I would probably click off Facebook notifications. We just left this on. This is already a winning campaign, so I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to touch it at all. I don't want to mess anything up, but I would probably unclick Facebook notifications, and then I would probably just leave that as it is. Then your money will be spread more into the sales channels that you want people to see you or that actually convert. This is just so you're not wasting money on places where no one would ever see your ads, or like ever even convert from those places. So we're just saving money for our client there and making sure we're getting the most out of his dollar. And then moving along to the images, since this is dynamic, it's going to look a little different. Kind of same idea here though. Facebook page stallion painting, and I know I'm going through this very quickly. If you guys want a full breakdown of me making the entire campaign from scratch, I can do that, but this video is not that, so that's why I'm kind of speeding through this. So the format is single image or video. We're just uploading all our videos here, and then we just have a bunch of different copywriting here, so Facebook can test each different video and image and link the different copywriting sections in the place, so they can figure out who a winning customer is. And then these are obviously all our headlines here, and our call to action is get a quote. And once they click get a quote, it will take them to this instant lead form, which is here. So this is what our instant lead form looks like. What service do you need? Interior, exterior painting. Now, as I mentioned, this is the service that our clients are wanting. They want the big jobs that move the needle, not just like the touch-up paint, stuff like that. So these are the services that get them to that goal of revenue that they want. So this is what we do. Obviously, we're trying to get more familiar for what we're getting into. And then, can you approve work at this property? We want to make sure that these are the homeowners that we are mentioning. And then on other forms, we have also added budgeting questions. So we're making sure that these people understand what the type of pricing that we will charge. We want to make sure that these customers understand that this is not going to be the cheapest price out there. If you want that, then I would probably call someone else. So that budgeting question allows them to tell us how much they are willing to spend for this service. And you know, if they answer that question with a less amount than you guys are wanting to do the service for, then you know that's just a disqualified lead and you don't have to waste your time going out there. And then moving along, we have our contact information, that standard privacy policy page. And then you would go to your Instagram, or you can send them back to your website if your website is optimized. This client's website was not optimized, so we just sent them back to the Instagram. Back to this example I showed you, you can also do it this way. It looks like they have a GHL form. This is how you qualify customers even more than the instant forms. This is how you get the type of customers that you really want, because you add more friction from them just being able to fill out a couple questions and qualify as a lead. They have to go through this, go to your website, you know how fast they're looking to start, in-person estimate, fill out the form, and then it would fire off as a lead here, so you can really see who your customer is. That's just a quick bit of information. You can go really deep on these and ask the questions that you want in order to get the type of customers that you want. But there is a caveat and there is a downside with that. You will get less leads, but you will get way more qualified leads and close probably more jobs that way. But if you're someone who wants more leads and more potential jobs, even if they're cheaper, then I would go with the Facebook route. So back to our page, what good looks like here. Every field at every level is filled out intentionally, not by default. You can explain why you made each choice or why you were doing the type of ad that you were making, not just what you clicked. The ad looks clean and professional on mobile screen. Make sure that that is something you are looking at. For number 5, we have create the instant form where the lead gets captured. From the very beginning, I told you that this was one of the most important steps, but it's not to say that each step is not as important as this. They all go hand in hand. If your ad is trash, they won't even fill out the form. So you have to make sure that the ad is really good. That's top of funnel. Middle of funnel is filling out this form. And then bottom of funnel is obviously going through your offer and seeing what you have. So what we do for the ad example I showed you, for us, we select the instant form as the destination in the ad. Some people use GHL, which is the last form I just showed you. Add an intro card with the client's offer and trust line. Add 3 questions max, name, phone, 1 qualifying questions, which could be your budget question or what type of service that they are needing. Write a clear thank you screen that sets expectations so they know what to expect after they fill out that form. Link the privacy policy. This is just required by Facebook. Why all of this matters. This is where lead actually happens. Everything else just drives people here. Higher intent adds a review screen that filters out accidental taps. The qualifying question that tells the client everything before they even call. A thank you screen that sets callback expectations, reduces no answer rates. So we want to make sure that when they fill out this form, they understand what they are filling out, because there has been times when customer fills out this form, but then just completely forgets that they filled out the form in the first place when we give them a call or the business owner gives them a call. So we want to make sure that they understand what they are doing when they go through this entire process and what the desired outcome for them is going to look like. So what good looks like, you can submit a test lead and receive it yourself. The form takes less than 30 seconds to complete on mobile. We want to make sure that it's not too much friction, but we don't want to make it so it's just one question and they fill it out. There's a fine line, so we're qualifying these people for the type of jobs and service that you guys want to do. The qualifying question filters bad leads before they hit the client's phone. That's just kind of building on top of that one. If you have one question, then it's going to be super unqualified. But if you have 40 questions, it's going to be super, super, super qualified, which is good. But you might only have one client, so we want to make sure that there's a fine line between the two. Now, moving along, connect the back end. What we do, we set up an instant email notification from Facebook page that's connecting your pixel. So we show where leads live in Ads Manager, which is the form library. You can actually download this on your phone. It's called the Ads Manager right here. I don't know if you could see that. It's the one with the circle that's baby blue and teal. And you can see all of those, or have the business owner, or if it's your client, download that so they can see where the ads come in, and they get a notification saying like, hey, a new lead came in, and then you can reach out to them as quickly as possible. Now, if there's someone who is going to be on the job site every single day, or if you, the business owner, is going to be on the job site every single day, and you know for a fact that sometimes you're just a little too busy and you're in work, which you should be doing, then we know that you're not going to be able to contact these people in the first 5 minutes. So we offer a CRM, which goes into this, Connect CRM, Zapier, or GHL, which is the one we use. Whatever the client has. And this just allows you to be a little more lenient, because if you miss the call, you can have automation set up so it fires off to these customers that are inquiring about needing service. And if you miss a call, it could just fire off in the first 2 minutes, like saying, hey, we received your submission. Before going any further, we have some questions for you. So that just buys you a little time, and then actually nurtures the client even more. Submit a test lead and confirm the client actually receives it. You want to make sure that these people are actually receiving the clients through your automation, stuff like that. Brief the client. Speed to lead is everything. As I mentioned, if they can't answer the leads, then build out the CRM stuff. And we do that as well for our clients. So we want to make sure that they are not losing any potential prospects at all, because if we bring them leads and they can't even reach out to them, then we're kind of just wasting each other's time. So why this matters: generating leads that the client never sees is worse than not running ads at all, because you are wasting money. If you cannot reach these clients, then might as well not run ads at all, because you are literally just be wasting money at that point. So make sure that the CRM is set up so you guys can, or if you have a sales team, then just have them reach out super quickly. Most beginners set up the campaign and forget this step entirely, like they forget to implement the CRM, or they forget to tell the business owner to download the ads manager so they can see the lead. So that can just get a little messy, and we don't want that. So speed to lead in the home service is critical. A lead called within 5 minutes is 10 times more likely to convert. Even sometimes we see a little shorter as well. We want to make sure 5 minutes is the bare minimum we are getting in contact with these people, because when they fill out that form or submission, they are looking to get the service done as fast as possible, or at least that is what we expect when they fill out these forms. So if you can't call these people within 5 minutes, they're most likely just going to move on and go to the next competitor that actually will reach out to them and not waste their time. This is what makes you look professional and keeps clients paying month after month. So what good looks like here: client receives a real-time notification the second a lead submits. And then for testing, a lead was received, all information came through correctly. Client knows exactly what to do when a lead comes in. You want to make sure that the client or the business owner knows exactly what is going on when these leads hit, and also having a sales process that they can replicate time after time. Because I know some people in this industry are decent at sales, or some of these business owners are decent at sales, but I feel like a lot of them aren't, and they do different processes each time they get in contact with a customer, which is a no-no. We want to make sure that we're able to track this data so we can tweak things if something isn't working in the pipeline or in the sales journey, because we can make sure that we have the data that actually backs our decision making. If you're just kind of going free balls and doing whatever you want, then obviously you're not going to have the data to track why something isn't working. This whole business is all about pulling levers and seeing which ones will actually generate you more money. So the only way you can do that is tracking all this data. And on that note, with data, this is how we launch and monitor going live and what to watch. So running through the pre-launch checklist, pixel, form, notifications, budget, preview. This is all things you do when you're setting up the campaign. You publish the campaign. Do not touch anything for 48 hours. Let Meta learn. You want to make sure that you're not adjusting anything within the first 48 to 72 hours. Reason for that is because Meta needs time to understand who your client ICP is and understand who they need to get this in front of. And if you touch this too soon, then you're going to be ruining Meta's algorithm. But if you don't adjust this too late, then you're kind of going to be wasting money. So that's why we say there's certain KPIs that you need to track, which is right here. On day 3, check CTR, cost per lead, and form completion rate. Those are all key performance indicators that you need to be looking out for when running these campaigns. Make one change at a time if needed, never multiple at once. The more you adjust things, like I was saying with budget, if you adjust budget like by $20 and you're only spending $20, then that's 100% of budget optimization that you changed. Meta will completely kind of like crash and that campaign will basically be toasted. So you want to make sure that these are small increments after you publish it. That's why you go through this checklist so you can have the best possible outcome from the get-go and only having to make small tweaks after it's already running. Why all of this matters: publishing is not the finish line, it's the starting line. The 48-hour rule exists because meta algorithms reset every time you make a change. Like I said, the more changes you make, the more time it will reset, and you will be wasting so much money in that time where you could have just left it and actually got real data. Also, one change at a time means you know what actually moved the needle or why the ad was more profitable or wasting more money. So you can tweak based upon each adjustment that you make. So your job after the launch is to read the data and make smart decisions, not panic. Of course, we want to make sure that we're looking at the data because it's telling you right in front of your face what is working and what is not working. What good looks like: CTR above 1%, creative hooks are connecting, cost per lead is profitable relative to the job. For example, on our campaign, 10 leads within the last 14 days, and these are $26 a lead, which is pretty good. For home service average, we want to see like anywhere from 15, which is super good, all the way up to like 35, 40, depending on how big your offer is. Obviously, if your offer is way more expensive, you're going to get less leads. But if you're getting a lead at $40 and they actually convert, $40 for $10,000, not bad, right? So we want to make sure we're looking at the data based upon what our offer is. Ours is like a mid-ticket, high-ticket offer, roughly around like $7,000 to $15,000. So I'll take $26 per lead all day long. And then form completion rate above 70%, because if they're clicking your ad but they're not completing your form, then you probably have an instant form problem, and you can track that. Because if they like what you have to say on the ad but they don't like the questions you're asking, then it's not going to resonate with them and they're going to fall off at that part of the funnel. Next, client is following up on leads fast. Of course, that is very important here. We don't want to be wasting money on anything. And then you can explain what every number means and what to do about it. So not every number is super important or needs to be tracked 24/7 on the Meta Ads Manager. There are certain KPIs like I would look at, which is CTR, cost per lead, form completion rate, which are super important. And then some of the other stuff you can kind of tweak later, but I wouldn't be focused on everything. I would kind of just narrow my vision down so I understand what lever to actually pull, which will make me the biggest change. So with that all being said, and I know this was a super long video going in depth of why we do what we do for our marketing campaign, this should give you a better understanding to what a successful campaign would look like at one of the higher levels. Now, I'm sure there's levels certainly beyond this, but I'm saying this is what does well for our industry and for what our ICP is. The main goal here is to get leads for your business. The main goal here is to generate more revenue for the companies that you are working with, so we can actually get the desired outcome from the thought process of running ads. The whole reason why we're running ads is to generate more revenue and to get more eyeballs on the business. But realistically, it's to actually just make more money. So I hope this helps you understand a little better the thought process behind each decision that's being made. It's not just clicking a bunch of buttons and hoping that this does well. This whole form kind of breaks all that down. Now, as I mentioned earlier, if you are a business owner and you are looking to invest in marketing, but you are also wanting to save time and have someone that is trustworthy to do this for you, click the first link in the description so you can apply to work with us and we can see if we're a fit and we can help you guys. But other than that, as always, if you like this video and you thought it was helpful, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, follow along, because I'll be posting more stuff like this all the time to help you guys generate more money absolutely free. If you have any questions at all, feel free to just comment down below and I'll answer them as best as I can, and I'll see you guys later.